It's quite a book. I mean, it really is interesting. And long, very long. 71 pages to be exact. Did you make it that long to make sure Trump never reads it? You know, I don't think it had to be 700 pages to make sure he wouldn't read it. Barack Obama and Jimmy Kimmel just took a wrecking ball to Donald Trump. And trust us, it's one of the most savage things you've ever seen. The duo teamed up to deliver a truth bomb so explosive that it left Trump and Melania completely speechless, probably wondering if they should start packing. This wasn't just another critique or late-night jab. It was a full-blown exposé of hypocrisy, ego, and questionable decisions that hit Trump where it hurts the most, his pride. Buckle up, because this is the kind of political drama you can't look away from. The setup was simple, yet devastatingly effective. Jimmy Kimmel, known for his sharp wit and unrelenting humor, invited Barack Obama onto his show for what seemed like a casual conversation, but what unfolded was anything but casual. Obama, with his trademark calm and composed demeanor, joined forces with Kimmel to dismantle Trump's carefully constructed image. They didn't just focus on policy failures or scandals. They went straight for the jugular, exposing the absurdity of Trump's behavior, both in office and out. From his obsession with TV ratings to his constant need for validation, no stone was left unturned. What made this moment even more brutal was how effortlessly Obama and Kimmel worked together. Obama brought the gravitas, highlighting the stark contrast between his own presidency and Trump's chaotic tenure. He pointed out how Trump's decisions often prioritize spectacle over substance, leaving the country worse off in the process. Meanwhile, Kimmel added the comedic flair, turning Trump's most infamous moments into punchlines that landed with precision. Together, they created a tag team so effective that Trump had no chance of escaping unscathed. The fallout was immediate and predictably explosive. Reports suggest that Trump watched the segment in disbelief, reportedly muttering under his breath and pacing around Mar-a-Lago. Sources close to him claim he spent hours ranting about how unfair the whole thing was, accusing Obama and Kimmel of conspiring against him. Melania, on the other hand, was said to be unusually quiet, perhaps realizing just how much trouble they were in when two of the most respected figures in entertainment and politics came after them with such force. It was a rare moment where Trump seemed utterly powerless to respond. But here's the kicker. The truth hurts, especially when it's delivered with such clarity and humor. Obama and Kimmel didn't rely on exaggeration or baseless accusations. They stuck to the facts, using Trump's own words and actions against him. Whether it was mocking his infamous tweet or pointing out his administration's lack of transparency, every barb was rooted in reality, and that's what made it so impactful. When you strip away the bravado and bluster, what's left is a man who struggles to handle even the mildest forms of accountability. For viewers, this was more than just entertainment. It was a cultural moment. Seeing Barack Obama step back into the spotlight to take down his successor reminded everyone why he remains one of the most admired figures in modern politics. And Jimmy Kimmel, he proved once again that late-night comedy can be a powerful tool for holding leaders accountable. Together, they delivered a masterclass in exposing hypocrisy while keeping audiences laughing and thinking at the same time. Now, as the dust settles, one thing is clear. Trump won't forget this anytime soon. His meltdown may have been brief, but the damage has already been done. Between Obama's eloquence and Kimmel's humor, the former president was left reeling, and the internet couldn't get enough of it. If there's one lesson to take away from all this, it's that sometimes the best way to challenge power is not through anger or aggression, but through wit, wisdom, and a little bit of satire in terms of how you behave, how you present yourself. It doesn't mean I haven't heard this speech before. Believe me. No, I didn't mean it from you. I meant from the guidance counselors to me. Let's just say that Jimmy Kimmel and Barack Obama delivered the most brutal takedown of the century. Imagine the moment when Donald Trump, who has been telling everyone he knows that he is the smartest person in the room for years, finds himself in the crosshairs of two of America's brightest minds. This is not a hasty remark or half-baked attack. No, Trump, the self-described master of comebacks, was rendered completely speechless by this intensely well-crafted roast. Melania was present too, but like Trump, she remained silent. It is up to all of us to fix this. It's not going to be because someone comes and saves you that things will change. The most important office in this democracy is the citizen, the ordinary person. So, how did it all come to pass? Let's go back to the time when Obama and Kimmel, a compelling combination of humor and charm, approached the stage and cast shade. So cold, it made your eyes water. Obama, the silver-tongued former president, has a reputation for delivering calculating and smooth burns. He has a way of hitting you with a phrase so witty that you're already planning to escape before you realize you've been roasted. Kimmel, the master of late-night humor, is accustomed to criticizing Trump in the most unexpected and hilarious manner. When combined, they resemble a tag team match between two heavyweights, but instead of punches, they deliver verbal knockout blows, a pouch of big league chew, and Maxie. I want to congratulate Max. Max, come here. His arms are very strong when I touch them. I'm used to shaking politicians and hitting their arm, and it's like jello. And now it's like steel. Oh, these guys are steel. Well, put a tariff on it then. It's steel. We've gotten pretty comfortable and complacent. It's not enough just to say you're for something. You may actually have to do something and possibly sacrifice a little bit. Obama didn't even break a sweat. Ever the cool client, he was in his element, using a few shrewd words to demolish Trump's reputation with ease. That man, who smirks like it's a fashion accessory. You know Obama is that kind of guy. He says, I could roast you, but I'm going to do it in style, with that signature expression on his face. Yes, the previous president didn't have to use cheap insults or raise his voice. He just spelled out the facts, piece by piece, and allowed them to soak in. Trump, who is used to having people obey his every word without question, was taken aback by someone who didn't care about his ego or reputation. Obama refused to accept it. Some folks might say, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. No. You all know that. I've heard it, because I know some of you heard that. Let me make sure you understand this. Joe Biden sent you a check during the pandemic, just like I gave people relief during the Great Recession. The thing is, we didn't put our names on it because it wasn't about feeding our egos. It wasn't about advancing our politics. It was about helping people. That's the difference. Don't be giving him credit for that. If you find this entertaining, please subscribe. With his trademark sense of humor, Kimmel came on stage, prepared to hurl bombshells. Jimmy Kimmel breaks down his target, one sentence at a time, turning his joke into a full-fledged comic extravaganza. Naturally, Trump enjoys bragging about his ability to close deals. Who wouldn't believe a man who established an empire based on, well, his last name? Kimmel, the man who claims to be a business genius, is the largest winner in the history of winners. You know, a lot of fans are wondering why the Dodgers organization and the Dodgers players would have anything to do with Trump. You have to remember, we had a big fire here at the beginning of the year, and Donald Trump is the one who, 5 days after the fires went out, turned on an imaginary valve and sent millions of gallons of water hundreds of miles away from here. So we owe him. We at least owe him this. With all the grace of a wrecking ball, we at least owe him this. Yeah, the biggest winner. Kimmel retorted, "Isn't it funny that the guy who's been bankrupt 6 times and still tells us that when it comes to earning money, he excels?" The audience bursts into laughter as Kimmel continues to mock Trump's unwavering confidence with sarcasm that only he can deliver. Do you recall a time when you needed to borrow millions of dollars to cover your losses? Yes, neither do I. Kimmel doesn't miss a beat as the room erupts in cheers. People often say that if you can't win a commercial deal, at least you can win an election. Apparently, that's all it takes. Kimmel's roast turns into more than just a joke, thanks to the comedic precision. The audience is captivated by the full-on comedic takedown. One of Trump's favorite topics has always been his wealth, or more accurately, his self-proclaimed riches. But let's be honest, his idea of financial success has always been somewhat misguided. A visit from the Dodgers provided a nice distraction for Trump, who was busy wrecking the world economy. It was another terrifying day on Wall Street. The Dow was down, the S&P was down, and cocaine was up. The S&P 500 had lost more than 10% of its value since Thursday, costing Americans billions from their stock portfolios and retirement funds. But here's the thing about Trump. He doesn't care about money. He knows there are more important things in life, like love. In one of his trademark subtle jabs, Obama, with his signature calm demeanor, pointed out that Trump's idea of winning had more to do with running a casino into the ground and slapping his name on anything that could be sold. Obama wasn't buying into Trump's narrative for a second. His was the kind of clever, smooth jab that cut deeper than any direct assault. Everyone already understood that Trump's corporate empire was more about bluster and branding than true success or wealth. So Obama didn't need to shout it from the rooftops. The irony, like some cursed Midas, was that Trump was so consumed with his image that he failed to notice every endeavor he took on ended in failure. Instead of turning things into gold, he turned them into a mess. And let's not forget about the golden elevator and how his name is plastered everywhere, from hotels to golf courses. These were more about feeding a rich man's imagination than reflecting any true financial brilliance. Obama didn't even have to say it aloud. Trump's personal history spoke for itself. His fortune was all glitz and glamour, with little real value. There are the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, the weird obsession with crowd sizes. Someone once compared Trump to the neighbor who constantly runs a leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. That's exhausting from a neighbor. From a president, it's just dangerous. When it came to Trump's reality TV career, Kimmel went all out and didn't mince words. Do you remember when Trump hosted The Apprentice? Kimmel made sure everyone knew that Trump's acting skills, if you could call them that, were limited to convincing people he was a business genius, because he fired random individuals on television. Kimmel went deeper than just mocking the absurdity of Trump hosting a show about corporate America when his own business was struggling to survive. He mocked the entire concept of The Apprentice. Kimmel emphasized how despite Trump's alleged business experience, his approach to company leadership was just a front for TV cameras, hiding the disastrous failures behind the scenes. Trump wasn't a savvy businessman. He was the epitome of a failing one who barely managed to convince others he was a successful entrepreneur. Kimmel's timing couldn't have been more perfect. Let's be honest, Kimmel continued. It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hard-working immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine. He was well aware that Trump's rise to political power was based on his TV persona. No matter how ridiculous it was, the country was now led by the same man who failed to run a profitable business or a popular TV show. It remained the ultimate punchline. Obama reminded everyone right away that it was all a big joke. Even though Trump may have been laughing all the way to the White House, the finest part came next. Trump was suddenly speechless. Even though he's used to throwing insults like confetti, there he was, at the White House, his jaw slightly agape, staring at Obama as if they had just opened a vault of